Okay, now we're recording. So I'm excited to show up and connect with you tonight to share some really helpful information so you're not wasting your time with strategies that don't even work. So trust me when I say, I know how frustrating it is to start off a new year with high hopes, but be unsure if your plan is actually going to work. It can feel so frustrating from the get-go to be unclear if the effort you're putting in is even going to give you the outcome that you desire. So tonight, I'm excited to kick off the new year with you, telling you the exact things that you need to focus on that will actually produce the lasting results. Today, you're going to discover the true facts about sustainable weight loss and the lies that you've been told. The diet industry tells us a lot of inaccurate information that can leave you spinning your wheels, getting nowhere. And I want your efforts to actually lead to the results you desire. So tonight we're going to break down the BS and get really clear on what to focus on and to get the results that you desire and deserve. So I love sharing this information, and I hope you're excited to learn something new, or maybe even just confirm some of the suspicions that you've felt in the past about diets. I hope you can take something away, something new, so you have more progress and more clarity about the diets on the market, especially, like, let's be honest, this time of year. So what are we going to learn today? Do diets even work? What makes them work? Will your diet work? How do I make sure it's effective? Is weight loss the same as fat loss? How do I get the body shape that I want? Cardio burns more calories, so it's the best, right? I've heard of macros, but it's so obsessive, time-consuming, and hard, right? What are the options? So, hello, I'm Kelly. I'm 40 years old. I'm a nutrition coach. I'm a pharmacist, a wife and mother to 3 kiddos. So yes, I'm extremely busy, just like you. I used to think that I couldn't do it all, to have a successful career, to be an attentive wife and mom, and to have that body I could feel proud of. But I was able to finally find that happy place with all 3. And I'm so excited to share with you how I did that. And I'm still on a nutritional journey. It's fun. It's been enjoyable. I've lost weight. I've done a reverse diet and was able to add on 800 calories from my lowest point. I've gone on vacation without gaining weight. I've built muscle, doing a small bulk. I practiced maintenance, and I got to eat ice cream at every single stage of that journey. I eat dinner with my family every night. I'm not spending hours tracking food or working out. So, okay, let's address the elephant in the room. You've probably at least some point thought, I'm going to sell you on my program and coaching today. Well, at the end, I'll offer you a discount just for attending, but I've got a lot of absolutely free information to give you before I even open the doors. So right now, the purpose is all about absolutely free teaching so that you know if the diet that you select will work for you. All right. So if you've ever felt stuck, hopeless, frustrated, or embarrassed about your body shape or size, or experienced your pants digging into your belly, or feeling like nothing in your closet fits correctly, crying after you take photos, trying different fad diets with no real lasting results. And maybe that's not you, but that was me. If you've ever felt like throwing in the towel, like the cards are stacked against you, that your metabolism must be broken, then chances are you can relate to my story. I didn't always have this figured out. My camera feed was full of pictures of my kids and my husband, but the only pictures of me, unless I was taking progress pictures, were headshots that only had me strategically, I was strategically placed behind one of my kids. I would tell myself you should never miss a Monday, but it was every Monday after I completely had messed up the weekend yet again. And if you have a job where you're allowed to wear jeans on Friday, that was supposed to be a special treat. But I actually hated that because no jeans would really fit. And I was sitting at a desk and my jeans would be digging into my belly and my sides. And it just wasn't even comfortable. And then I got to take my after pictures. I had to change. I had to think differently. I had to stop the quick fixes. I had to stop believing all the diet world was telling us, especially women, our whole lives. I couldn't do the same things that had worked in my 20s. The myths that I'm about to share tonight, they were truths to me. And that's why I want to share them with you. Okay, so this class is for you. And I listed all those things because chances are you're here because there's a part of you that feels like your health, your fitness, your body isn't where you want that to be. Maybe you gained a little over the years. Maybe you're working on the last 10 pounds, or maybe it's the first 10 pounds of many. Maybe it's that muffin top that I was talking about. Maybe it's the stubborn belly fat. Maybe you want to look more toned. And maybe along with wanting to reach those weight loss goals, you're kind of developing a poor relationship with food with all those diets out there, looking for a way to enjoy food without guilt and shame, without overeating every single weekend and then punishing yourself on Monday. And if any of that resonates with you, you're here, you're showing up and you've made this step. So let's dig into these myths that are keeping you stuck and moving you further away from the success that you deserve and desire. And I forgot to mention, if you guys have any questions along the way, I'll be checking the chat from time to time to see what's coming up there. So myth number 1, diets don't work. Maybe you've been told that diets don't work. So this is my one that's actually a little true and a little false. And so let me explain here. Here's the key. Does it actually put you in a consistent calorie deficit so that it can be effective? And are you making long-term behavior changes alongside that deficit so you can keep your results? So a lot of diets restrict in order to reduce calories. So maybe you're supposed to eat every 2 hours or skip breakfast, and that reduces your calorie intake during that time. And you're kind of asking yourself, should I eat after 6 p.m.? Is that a magic number? Should I only eat whole foods? Should I be going dairy free or gluten free or sugar free or alcohol free or fun free? What's right for me? But you can easily overeat on non-carb foods. You can overeat inside your eating window because, hello, you're hungry. You can even overeat on healthy whole foods. And then not only are you not seeing results, but you're also feeling restriction, which leads to that poor relationship with food. And it's not teaching you what to do long-term unless you're never going to eat sugar again or never going to eat carbs again. It's just like what you're doing during the diet phase. So that leads you to like, well, what about 1,200 calories? That magic number that we've all been told for as long as I can remember anyway. But remember, it needs to be a consistent deficit, and 1,200 calories isn't enough for a grown woman. This amount of calories is responsible for decreasing your metabolism too fast, binging and like that binge and restrict tendency, and a poor relationship with food. Another problem that arises with these restrictive diets is that you have strong willpower and determination during the week, especially during the New Year's. You eat perfectly, but then Friday rolls around, or maybe it's the second Friday or the third Friday of your diet, and you just can't handle life anymore without sugar and chips and pizza and tacos and margaritas anymore. This always happened to me. One treat turns into 5, then you're just going to start over Monday. The weekend turns into a shit show of eating all the things while you wonder how in the world other people are able to control themselves, because you just don't have that kind of willpower. Again, another personal story, but maybe there's some part of that that you can relate to. And all those diet options just leave you stuck and confused. And down deep, you really know that none of this would work for you, even if it fit into your, even if it worked for like your neighbor or your coworker or your sister. If you can't stick with it, it won't work if you can't stick with it. And you're right, because you've either like tried it, been there, done that, or you know that these plans won't fuel you and your busy lifestyle. They aren't long-term solutions, and they plain just don't work for your actual goal. Sure, especially with some of these, you might actually lose 10 pounds and pretty rapidly. But does water weight really count as the weight loss that you're desiring? And what about muscle loss? Is that something you're really wanting to lose just to lose weight? How is your metabolism impacted by muscle loss? What does that mean long-term for you? Does that mean you're going to regain the weight if your metabolism is adapted because you lost muscle? And then what kind of stress is there from the diet? So this is a side note. This is a big downfall of intermittent fasting. The stress that it creates by not eating and the responses to that. And what about your relationship with food? Most people want to get to the point where they're intuitive eating, but do you intuitively not eat? Like you just need to be considering that along the way. What is it doing to your relationship with food? And how are you going to make adjustments when you hit a plateau? Does your diet have a plan for that? Or are you just kind of left spinning your wheels? And it's not like these diets don't work. They work if they put you in a calorie deficit, and not just during the week, but a deficit over the course of the full week. But how do you know you're actually in a deficit? So here's the truth. If you really want your diet phase to be effective, you need to track your food to make sure you're actually in a calorie deficit. Make it effective. Get in, get out. Diets do work if you're in a calorie deficit. This means you're expending or burning more calories than you are consuming or taking in. Okay, and I totally get it. My fitness journey was full of trying all these things, these diets, hacks, quick fix, cardio, boot camp, supplement crap. Have you ever tried any of these? Tell me in the chat, like which one did you try and did it work for you? And did you actually keep the weight off afterwards? I want to know what your experiences were. Let me see if there's any. Let me know in the chat if you've ever tried any of these before. So I tried those colored containers, but they ended, you have to wash those unless you're going to buy like multiple sets of them, and they ended up as bath toys. I do not do dishes that much. I tried Weight Watchers several times. The thing is, I tried it several times. I always regained that back. I tried soups, I tried fat burners, willpower, and I failed. I tried 1,200 calories. That didn't work for me. It lasted maybe 4 days, and then I like tripled the amount of calories. And I tried cutting out sugar, and that definitely wasn't for me. I told myself I was a failure because I just couldn't stick with it. I tried to have my sisters and my husband hold me accountable, and it just didn't work. I would exercise and look in the mirror, and the reflection would say you're not seeing any changes in your body. I thought I was being good, but then I would find myself sneaking candy that you couldn't have on your diet. Hello, poor relationship with food right there. I'd have low energy all day long. And every meal plan came with food that I disliked, and I didn't know how to swap it out. Cottage cheese for me, like every single meal plan that ever got assigned to me, cottage cheese. And I quit it the first week because I didn't know what to do. Or it was some 15 ingredient meal that I didn't have time to cook. I couldn't do it. And I told myself I was weak and I'd be stuck in that weight loss plateau with the scale not moving. So I'd give up and gain back anything I had lost. I'd blame my metabolism. And I cried in dressing rooms when I had to get even bigger pairs of pants. I was deflated that I couldn't figure it out. Depressing. I didn't want to feel flabby any longer. I wanted to feel confident. I wanted to wear my clothes in my closet. And when I learned about tracking macros, like it was almost immediately, I knew it was data-driven, flexible, the thing that I had needed. I discovered food balance and that food isn't good or bad. And I learned about metabolism. I had a coach and I started relying more on taking action and being consistent than waiting for motivation to show up. And then this created some more momentum to keep me going. Then I saw results, and this started me on a journey to get fit and healthy. And it worked. I dropped the pounds, but more importantly, my body transformed. It wasn't the skinny fat that I had achieved in the past. It was more of like the shapely, womanly, strong body that I'd always wanted and didn't know I could have. So metabolism macros simplified is the most effective, efficient, and enjoyable way to lose weight and keep it off without giving up your favorite foods, feeling restricted or deprived, all while being able to eat dinner with the family. Macros work because it's data driven. You track your intake, you track your progress, and you make sure your efforts are effective. You make adjustments when they're not in a plateau so your efforts remain efficient. Hello, I'm a busy mom too, and I know you don't have time to waste on things that won't get you results. And that's why I simplified macros to be effective and efficient as possible. So it's important to also have the diet phase be somewhat enjoyable. There is room for treats. And in fact, I want you to have some treats built into your week. I want you to be working on moderation now. The diet phase isn't over when you lose all the weight. You need to keep those results. And that's why practicing awareness of food, even in a cut, so having that moderation will help you keep the weight off long term. Practice doing the things now so that you can keep it off long term. Yes, low carb works great if you never want to eat another carb. Yes, the minute you do, it all comes back. I did some carb cycling with which worked with other changes, but then I tried doing it again and struggled to get enough calories in. Yes. Carb cycling is a great tool to use for some, and some it doesn't. Like, I don't personally like to cycle my carbs because then I have that hunger, and then I tend to overeat when I cycle the carbs. So I personally don't love it for me, but I do give it to some of my clients when they are struggling to, if they have days when they're more hungry and less hungry. I especially do this like over your cycle. During your cycle, some women have more hunger, and sometimes we will do different techniques during that time to kind of curb some of that hunger. Great examples, great examples. Okay, let's move on to myth number 2. I'm getting a little long-winded here. So myth number 2, weight loss and fat loss are the same. Anyone have thoughts on that one? So this one's false. They are different. So the scale measures one of those. That's weight. But we hold on so tight to the scale, right? But our body is 60% water. So there's going to be daily fluctuations, hourly fluctuations. I remember, off topic, I remember weighing myself multiple times a day at one point. Oh, don't tell. Oh, that's so bad. But you gain water throughout the day, you eat food throughout the day. And so there's fluctuations one time a day in the morning after you go to the bathroom. That's why I recommend weighing daily, so you can see those fluctuations and realize they're just fluctuations, and you can see why they happen a lot of times. So the focus of most diets is weight loss, and that's what we were taught. The scale going down is good, and you probably have a weight goal right now, and you probably have an image of in your head of what that weight actually looks like. But when you lose fat, your body shape changes, and you see visually in the mirror the changes. So when I talk about this concept, one of those visuals I love to share is this picture. So I weighed 145 in both of these pictures, but my body composition is very different. Now, obviously I'm flexing in one and not in the other, but I didn't take a lot of pictures in that before picture. But you can tell that I have a much higher body fat percentage and much lower muscle mass percentage in that first picture. And on the right, I weighed the same, but my body looks different. And that's because I have more muscle mass and less fat mass. And that is why focusing on fat loss rather than weight loss is so important. And here's the key. That's not to say that you won't lose both, lose weight tracking macros, but it's not the only measurement that we focus on. So you might be thinking like, well, isn't it all about calories? Yes and no. To lose weight, as we talked about in the first myth, you need to burn more calories than you take in. That's just the law of thermodynamics. So yes, a calorie deficit is required, but the next step up is the macros. Calories are the base, and then the next step up, so you lose fat and keep your muscle as much as possible, is tracking macros. And that calorie number, it's dependent on your gender, your height, your weight, your body composition, your prior dieting, exercise, lifestyle, hormones, and several other factors that are unique to you. And that's why a lot of online calculators aren't always able to give you the best starting calories, let alone macros. And you need a custom plan for you. So my question for you, do you want weight loss, which consists of fat, muscle, water, etc., or fat loss? The answer to this question is where macros come in. And it's okay to say both. I mean, it really is, because both happen when you factor in macro simplified. So let's look at what impacts the scale just for a moment. Weight loss is not the same as fat loss. You hear those used interchangeably, but they're not the same. Losing water weight won't change your body composition. Losing muscle decreases your metabolism and doesn't change your body composition. Anyway, it doesn't change it for the positive. And this is where so many diets get it wrong. And that's because weight loss or weight gain is simply meaning the scale is going up or down. And that can happen if you pee, if you have more food in your digestive tract. It can happen if you gain or lose muscle. It can happen if you gain or lose water weight. And I've listed a whole bunch of other ones there for you. Here, let me move this. I don't know if that shows. There we go. So weight change doesn't tell us much about what's going on with your body composition. And what most people want when they say, I want to lose weight, is they actually want to lose fat. They want to see the scale go down, but they want what is leaving their body to be fat. So Metabolism Macros Simplified takes it a step further and defines what you are going to lose. Weight, which includes muscle and water, or fat. And you want to lose the fat, right? Right. Macros Simplified ensures that the majority of the weight that you lose is fat. So you see the results in your body shape. All right, number 3. Let me make sure we don't have any, no new comments. Cardio is the best exercise for weight loss. I was 100,000 times thinking this was true. I even told my first coach, like, I only lose weight when I run. And she laughed at me. I was totally a cardio girl. I remember going to the gym to run or use the elliptical in college so that I could earn a night out. But as I aged, cardio became less and less effective. And now I know why. So our bodies are so smart. They adapt. So the first time you run 3 miles, you burn a ton of calories. And I probably did for the first 3 weeks that I did it. But then my body started to adapt and I got better at running. My conditioning was better. And these are good things. Like, that's what we're supposed to do. Like, if you want to run a marathon, you start off with 1 mile and you gain 2 miles, 3 miles, up to the whole length of the marathon. And that's what our bodies are supposed to do. But the bad part when we're using it for weight loss is that your body adapted and it's not burning as many calories. So I would have to run longer and further to burn the same amount of calories. And let's be honest, my time commitment wasn't going to be hours. It hurt my knees. The winter weather gave me excuses. And to be honest, it wasn't really giving me the body that I wanted. So the second problem with cardio is that it makes you hungry. It may feel like since you burned 500 calories, you should be able to eat 500 extra calories. But that's not necessarily true. There's a lot of studies that have been done that show that our calorie burn from like what we track on our watches isn't accurate. Like, 60% plus inaccurate. And that doesn't mean like don't use your watch, but use it for trends instead of using it as this is how much you're burning for calories. And definitely don't eat back those calories because they can be so far off. Calorie burn from cardio is right here in the moment. So you do it, you burn whatever amount of calories, and then that's it. But I want you to think a little bit longer term on this, especially as we age. What if there was a way to increase the amount of calories your body burns even at rest? So not just for like a few minutes or a few hours, but days, weeks, months, and years. That sounds like the solution you want, right? Okay, but first let's talk about how you burn calories throughout the day. All right, this is a little chart that talks about, so we talked in depth about the calories in myth 1 and 2. So I want to talk about calories out. This is how you get your total daily energy expenditure, your TDEE. And you may, oh, here, I'm covering up some of it. There we go. And you may have done this calculation. I've talked about it before. This is how you get your TDEE is basically what your maintenance calories could be. So the first thing is your BMR, and that's 65 to 75% of your total daily energy expenditure. This is your basal metabolic rate, the energy you expend at rest, just like being alive, laying on the couch all day long. Your BMR, that's how much your body just burns that many calories, blinking, digesting, well, digesting is a different one, breathing, all those things that you have to do, just the essential bodily functions. Okay, the next biggest one is your NEAT. This is 10 to 20%, and it is your non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Long word for, it just means the energy you expend that's not sleeping, eating, or sports-like activity. So I consider walking, talking with your hands, fidgeting, typing, cleaning your house, cooking dinner, gardening, all those things that's not necessarily exercise, but it's not just laying there doing nothing, and it's not digestion. That's your NEAT. That's like a lot of times this is how we do our step count. The next one is your TEF, your thermic effect of food. So this is the energy, and it's 10 to 15%. This is your energy required to digest, absorb, and metabolize the food that you eat. So, interesting fact here that supports why we want to increase our protein is that the protein has the highest thermic effect of food at 15 to 30%. Carbs are 5 to 10, and fats are 0 to 3. So another good reason to be eating more protein is you just burn more during the digestive process. And the last one, your EAT, which is exercise activity thermogenesis. This is your intentional exercise. This is like going for a run, getting on an elliptical machine, doing some burpees, all those things. And since the biggest portion of this circle is the BMR, wouldn't it make the most sense to focus here? And by building muscle, you can increase your BMR, your basal metabolic rate at rest. You build muscle by lifting weights with progressive overload, and you won't get bulky. I could do a whole nother myth about that, but you won't get bulky. We're not going to tackle that one today though. So building muscle improves your metabolism, which allows you to eat more, and it helps prevent osteoporosis. It creates a toned look. Weightlifting is essential for maintaining the current muscle that you have on your body during a weight loss process, because I think we've kind of talked on this and touched on it before. We want you to lose the fat, not the weight. And during a weight loss phase, your body wants to just expend the most readily available, and sometimes that's muscle. So we increase the protein and we do some weightlifting to prevent muscle loss, so we keep the metabolism as high as we possibly can. Okay, so what's the optimal activity level for you? How much and what kind of depends on your starting point, your goals, and your preferences. They can be adjusted to accommodate your busy lifestyle. NEAT is going to be your walking, and this is the most beneficial for long-lasting results. You can do this as you age. Walking, it's not hard as hard on the joints as, say, running would be. This is living an active lifestyle, getting in daily movement, parking further away when you go to Target. So weightlifting is essential for muscle retention and growth. So if you don't use it, you lose it, especially as we age. You want to keep as much muscle as you can while focusing on losing the fat. Muscle burns more calories at rest. We've probably heard that before. And because of that BMR category of calorie burn, that's where we want to focus. This is so important for your metabolism. And our muscle mass naturally decreases as we age unless we do something to prevent it. Okay, I made it sound like I hate cardio. I don't hate cardio. If you're adding cardio to your workout, I want you to do what you love. Make this enjoyable. Cardio is where a lot of women get caught up though. They want to exercise away their food. You do not earn your food. Exercise should not be a punishment. So that's why for cardio, I want you to do what you love. And if that's simply walking, that's great. If that is rowing or playing volleyball or whatever it is, that's what you should be focusing on. Okay, a couple downsides of cardio though. You don't burn nearly as much as the activity trackers say you do, like we kind of talked about. It makes you hungry. And here's the big one. Cardio can be catabolic, which means it makes you lose muscle when you do too much of it. I don't see this a ton, but if you're only doing cardio, a lot of times you are losing muscle during that process. Like I said, cardio is not bad. It has its place and it should be, and it can be part of your daily step goal. But if you don't know where to start, lifting weights and walking will give you more benefit and assist for sustained weight loss. Cardio is a lever that we can pull in that like effective, efficient, and enjoyable part of the plan. If you're not seeing results, we can add in some cardio to make it more effective. And in my program, I include 5 days a week of weightlifting workouts for my clients. So they don't lose muscle in the weight loss process and they can keep their metabolism high. So they get the toned look that they actually desire. Okay, myth 4. This is the big one. I hear this a lot. Macro tracking is time consuming, obsessive, and hard. And so at this point, you're probably starting to see that the benefits that come along with macro tracking, the awareness of what you're eating, the effectiveness of actually knowing that you're in a deficit, the efficiency of being able to adjust things when they're not working, and the enjoyability to be flexible, add some carbs, add some fats, all those things. But you probably still have that nagging feeling that it's too time consuming, obsessive, and hard to track macros. And that's why I created Macros Simplified. The truth is, calories equated, carbs and fats really don't matter for weight loss. Personal preference matters more than an exact, rigid carb-fat ratio to make the diet sustainable. So this allows much more flexibility and decreases the time spent trying to come up with the exact combination, I call it macro Tetris, of the foods to hit your targets. Let's actually focus on what matters. So what does matter? It's the calories and it's the protein. Let's simplify. 2 targets instead of 4. And additionally, we work in ranges. So you aren't finishing the day eating 3/4 of a grape to get in the exact amount of carbs some calculator recommends. Let's go through a couple more scenarios. Yes, Kristen, that is so funny. How cruel is it the abbreviation for purposeful exercises EAT? That's hilarious. Thank you. Yes, that is. Okay. So it sounds overwhelming. How much time does it take? So I don't have to tell you that new action is required for new results. What got you here won't get you there. But be aware of those words that you're telling yourself. What if instead of saying counting macros is hard and time consuming or obsessive, you replace it with macro counting is effective, or sorry, I can't get to my right spot here. Or counting macros will give me the results I've been looking for. How does that change your approach when you look at it that way instead of the negative aspects of it? And consider how much time are you currently spending like complaining or thinking about your weight or hating your body or wishing you could create a different outcome? So how much time does it actually take to learn how to track macros? This question is why I created Metabolism Macros Simplified in 20 minutes a day, and that's inside my program. And you might be saying like 20 minutes a day, that seems like a lot. I can assure you it gets easier. I currently spend less than 5 minutes a day tracking the entire day. And creating a brand new recipe maybe takes an extra 5 minutes after some practice. That first recipe, it's going to take a while. The next several, you'll get faster at it. So if you spend 20 minutes of pre-tracking your day for 2 weeks, you're going to be well on your way to knocking that time frame down. And if it feels overwhelming to add to your existing to-do list, I'm here to tell you that planning is actually the antidote to overwhelm. It sets you up for success in hitting your macros and being consistent. Then each day after, it will get easier as your tracking app gets to know you. We all know that everyone's watching, right? It gets to know you and it follows the foods that you eat on a more regular basis, and it removes decision fatigue. How many decisions do you have to make on a daily basis? Let's reduce that with the food. Okay, is tracking macros hard? Well, what does hard mean to you? Is it hard, or does it just take some dedication to learn? Is it hard, or do you just need to decide you want to do it? Is it hard if you get the results you've always desired? Instead of hard, let's replace it with effective, optimized, efficient. And let's face it, the tracking apps, like I said, are just getting easier and more efficient to make it easier on you. So bar scanning, like barcode scanning on the box of whatever you're eating, recipe copying. You can copy entire days. You can copy entire meals to other days. It's gotten a lot simpler. I compare it to getting a new phone. At first, I kind of want to chuck that phone across the room because it doesn't have all my stuff programmed in it quite right. And then a couple of days later, it's back to normal and I'm enjoying the newer features of that phone. So here's a question for you. If you knew that counting macros would help you get your goal body, how much time would you be willing to spend to do it daily? Would it matter how hard it was? Would it really be obsessive, or would it be effective? And what if instead of being obsessive, you were focused on getting enough? What if you were bringing awareness to the foods that you're eating? And bonus, the way I track macros is different. It's simplified. Let's really focus in on what matters, not the tiny details that don't matter. Yes, you can use like a food scale and measure your lettuce leaves, but is that the action that's going to produce results? No, let's only focus on what is actually effective for real results, not the tiny details that leave you overwhelmed and stuck. So is macro tracking hard? Well, if you tell yourself it's going to be hard, it's going to feel hard. That's your interpretation, your belief. And it would be a self-fulfilling prophecy, just like if you wake up on the wrong side of bed and decide your day is ruined. But if you choose how to interpret macro tracking, and I personally feel like it's effective and efficient, are you going to choose the belief that it's hard or get proof that it's effective? All right. So macro Macros Simplified is the most enjoyable way to lose fat and keep it off. We only need to track the macros that are actually going to move the needle. Remember, protein. Make your diet effective without overcomplicating it. We can track the data so we can be efficient. And then we make adjustments if your body doesn't respond how we assume it will. Macros Simplified allows for flexibility in your lifestyle. You get to decide how many times a day you eat. You get to decide what time you start to eat. You get to decide what kinds of treats you fit in. I'm a sweet person. You may be a savory person. No cutting out any foods that you enjoy. But yes, you'll need to eat 80% nutrient-dense foods. But let's do it with a balance. Use ranges so that you can eat a little more on days where hunger strikes, or maybe on the weekends you eat a little more and then less on other days. Kind of like calorie cycling or carb cycling. You can also calorie cycle a little bit within a range. Including some fun foods also helps prevent the weekend overeating of all the things. If you kind of fit a couple into your normal day, then it's much easier to stay on track on the weekends, because it's not like you haven't had it forever and you need it now. Building awareness of what you're consuming helps you make decisions. I thought peanut butter was a great source of protein. No, unfortunately, that is false. I just didn't know until I started tracking, and then I became aware. I also, a tablespoon of peanut butter, or whatever this, it's 2 tablespoons. I was eating like 4 and thinking it was 2. So tracking it just brings along a lot of awareness. And then keeping the results long-term. There's a process for that. It's called the reverse diet. I'm not going to go into all of that tonight. But this is the part of the tracking macros that allows you to keep your results long-term. It restores your metabolism after the diet phase so that you aren't permanently eating in a deficit. I always thought you just permanently ate there. You had to get used to eating less. And that's not necessarily true. Okay, question for you. I've shared with you the 4 myths that are killing your weight loss progress and preventing you from keeping lasting results. How do you take what you've learned today and apply it to lose weight without relying on diets that leave so many feeling burnt out, defeated, restricted, overwhelmed, and miserable? I have an opportunity to help you break this cycle, to lose weight, specifically fat, in a sustainable way without having to give up your favorite foods. And then you can actually keep that weight loss off. I'd love to share that opportunity with you if you're interested in learning more. Is that something you guys would like me to continue with? Okay, I'm gonna go on. I've got at least one. Sure, I'll listen a little bit longer. If you're wanting to lose fat, by following a personalized macro plan that's simple and sustainable and effective, I would love to invite you to join Mama Meltdown. This is a transformational program. Not only will you transform your body, but also your relationship with food. And because you're watching this class with me, I'm going to offer you $100 discount off of your enrollment using code January. And this code will be good through Friday, January 6th. The sooner you join, the sooner you start. So we officially kick off on the 9th, but if you sign up tonight, you'll get all the information and you can start doing the things immediately. I'll give you the link in just a moment so you can take a closer look and see if it's something you'd be interested in. It's up to you. You can continue to feel stuck, spinning your wheels, going from diet to diet, and not actually seeing the changes in the reflection in the mirror. Or you can join Mama Meltdown and learn how to sustainably lose fat and keep it off without giving up your favorite foods. Even eat dinner with your family. So I want to go over what you will learn in the program. And to be clear, you're going to learn a lot, but it's about taking action. It's not just like a learning course, it's a taking action course, doing the things, practicing, setting goals, asking questions, checking in, making adjustments. Okay, let's dive in. So the first M is metabolism macros simplified. This helps you lose the fat, not just the weight. You'll learn how to use macros to give you a balanced nutrition and balanced lifestyle, 80-20. Enjoy life. Find that sweet spot. Think of it like a budget. I'm not even in this picture over here. There we go. That's me over in the corner with my family eating out at a restaurant in a deficit. Okay, so think of it like a budget. You have X amount of money and you can buy 1 pair of leggings from Lululemon, or you can buy 3 pairs from Target. You get to decide. And that's how macros work. There's no right or wrong answer. Sometimes you go for the big thing and sometimes you get 3 of the littler things. And then the next time you might pick differently. So they are, metabolism macros simplified are effective, efficient, and enjoyable. You track the data, you make data-driven adjustments, and you include an occasional treat. Metabolism macros allows you to eat an adequate amount of food so that you don't constantly feel tired and hungry and restricted, because that's where my patience goes out the door. My kids can tell you. I think all of the busy moms in this group know what I'm talking about. And it includes some non-negotiables. For me, it's dinner with my kids every night, date night, which my kids sometimes go to anyway, and ice cream. That's key to making it long-term, enjoyable long-term. Okay, activity. I'm gonna say effective, efficient, enjoyable again. So stop spinning your wheels and focus on the activity that actually gets you effective results. Make it efficient. Stop spending hours at the gym. The workouts that my clients do are about 45 minutes max. And I provide detailed instructions on how to make them shorter and still get the same results. And it's not, I give you 5, it's anywhere from 3 to 5 that you can do per week. And I tell you exactly which ones to do if you're only going to be doing them 3 days a week. Make this enjoyable so it fits into your lifestyle. Okay, the second M is mindset. And a lot of times we skip this, and a lot of programs don't include this. But this program is not something you are going to try that gives you an out. You tried it and it didn't work. No, you are going to be committing. You're going to take action, daily action, small achievable steps. The words we use are important. You will let the data drive decisions, not a one-time scale fluctuation, not a moment of weakness that makes you feel guilty and shameful, and then you like either eat all the things or totally restrict. We're not going to be doing that. We're just going to let the data speak for itself. You will make choices and own those choices. It's actually really empowering when things don't just happen to you. You don't just try, and you make those choices. And sometimes we choose to eat the birthday cake and go over our macros. And that is sometimes the greatest decision. Okay, accountability. The last thing that you need is these steps, the MAMA method, not being utilized to its potential. So we need to take action on the macros and the workouts, and then we report back for accountability. There's going to be bumps in the road. The macros won't be perfect. The results won't always be linear. You might want to give up. But if you have that accountability with a coach for encouragement, some tough love, adjustments, and help you find solutions, that's what it's about. I'm here to guide you inside the Mama Meltdown. And checking in with a coach provides an added layer of responsibility for doing the daily action steps necessary for your goal. And checking in reduces the worry and stress that you might otherwise experience when you make adjustments. Remember, we want this to be effective and efficient as possible. Having a coach inside this Mama Meltdown ensures that the data that the changes that we make are data-driven instead of emotionally driven. So I just wanted to show you a couple results from some former clients. This is my client Jenny, who transformed, and this was just 21 days, and you can see some obvious changes in her body in just 21 days. My client Shelly, I don't have everyone, I I don't force people to submit pictures if they don't want to. And I like how Jenny did it. She like cut off her face so it wasn't like no one might not know who that is. Shelly went from a keto, she was doing keto and she hit a plateau and she wasn't seeing results anymore. So we added back carbs into her diet and she ended up losing 10 pounds and 11.5 inches in 12 weeks. Audra, who lost 8 pounds and 9.5 inches in 12 weeks. Emily lost 12 pounds and 11.5 inches in 3 months. And then Christina, she only lost 2 pounds, but lost 16.5 inches, 6 of them from her waist. She was not disappointed at all with the scale. And these women are busy women, just like you. They're getting amazing results using metabolism macros. So what's included? All the things. I'm going to go over this quickly because it's a long list. It's a comprehensive 12-week program that helps you lose weight, tone up, improve your relationship with food while ditching the restrictive behaviors that have held you back from lasting results in the past. So you get personalized macros based on your body and your goals. You get customized macro targets based on your unique body, your lifestyle, your preferences, and your history. You get a detailed macro progress and habit tracker. So you collect multiple data points over time so you can spot some trends, see your consistency, and track habits. You get 4 essential training modules that every busy mom needs to create an effective plan that transforms your body. You get the School of Macros, which teaches you, so you learn about how to track macros. And there's homework in there with some application and practice in it. You get macros in 20 minutes a day. That guide tells you how to carve out the time, the exact steps you need to take to be successful, and some hacks to save time. You get an example sample meal plan. Okay, so I kind of touched on this. Meal plans don't work. They don't teach you how to do it on your own. They don't have any flexibility. However, it can be beneficial to have a template, a sample, proof that it's possible to get in that much protein, and some like recipe ideas, ways people space it out. And that's what I use these sample meal plans for. It's a way to get ideas and recipes and just kind of get you started. You get an activity prescription based on where you are now and your individual goals, including personalized cardio and step targets. And then you also get 12 weeks of resistance training workouts that can be done in the home or in the gym. And they have detailed instructions, how to make adjustments, and demo videos. There's also the mindset strategies, including tell me how many of these that you would, a couple of these are super important. Perfectionism, that was me. Dealing with scale emotion, me. Working on consistency, setting your non-negotiables, setting goals, going through the dip, which is like when you're partially the way through and you're like, I'm getting tired of dieting. How to deal with special events, slip-ups, what to do when you get off track, and dieting fatigue. We also have a supportive community for sharing struggles, wins, recipes, tips, and motivation. And then more accountability through personal check-ins so you can increase your confidence, get your questions answered, and make data-driven adjustments. In addition to that set of accountability, we also do a bi-weekly group Zoom for extra support, topics, and much, much more. Sorry, that was a lot. I think I need a drink real quick. All right, here's the important details. If you have questions, you can post them in the chat and I'll go over them. Or you can reach out to me on Facebook, or you can reach out to me on Instagram in the DMs, or you can email me. I think my email's on the next slide. But I'm not here to convince you to sign up. What I really want you to do is make an empowered decision for yourself. What I want to prevent, though, is the doors closing and you not making a decision. I don't know if I went over everything on that. We're going to do a welcome call on January 8th. this official start date is the 9th, but if you join now, you can start immediately. You get instant access, and there is a phone app when you sign up. It's a program called Kajabi, and it works really well on a computer, but it also has a Kajabi app that you can sign into, and you can listen to some of the trainings on 2 times speed. I already talk fast, so you might not want to do that. But there's an app so that you can follow things on your phone if you don't have access to your computer all the time. The welcome calls the day before, time to be determined, and then a discount code, January, to get $100 off the program. I'm going to end that discount on January 6th so that we have some fast action takers. Have questions, reach out. I reached out to my coach before I joined. I wanted to make sure that I knew what I was signing up for. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I can answer in the direct messages. I can set up a quick Zoom to talk to make sure it's right for you. My email is exergycoach@gmail.com. Reach out to me through that if that's how you would prefer to be contacted. And I'm going to be completely transparent. I'm not going to hide a thing. So if you have questions, I want you to ask them. Here, see if I can throw these in the link. Okay, it looks like I answered that last question, the macro tracking, what else is included? If I did not answer that with this, let me know, because I feel like I talked a lot. What questions are coming up, you guys? You can either put them in the chat. I just put the link if you're interested in signing up. Make sure at checkout you put in that code January to get your discount. But you can either unmute yourself or you can type something in the chat if you have a question. Any questions? You guys, this is really fun for me to get to present for you. What is the total cost? Is this, I do have a paid in full option. Just let's talk off. Oh yeah, you did put in a direct message. Yes, there is a paid in full option if that's interesting to you. If there's, yes, a group rate is definitely a possibility. So let's talk offline so that we can come up with some options on that. I'd love that. But you guys, this is really fun for me. I love giving away free information. I hope that this is super helpful for you. I hope that you've enjoyed, I guess, here, stop share so you can, let me bring up my Zoom. See my face a little bigger? I don't know if I can, okay, why is it not?
We can see you.
Okay, some people might be yellow. This is really fun for me. I really, really enjoy training, doing these things, helping other women achieve their goals. So if you are interested in any of these programs, just reach out to me. I would love to help you out in any way. All right. I think we got right at the buzzer, less than an hour by a minute. I'm proud of myself. That was one of my goals. So I'm going to stop recording and let's see.